great to meet you. Excited to talk about your podcast.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
So first of all, congrats on your new podcast. How excited are you for fans to be able to finally listen to this and find out more about it?
I am so excited. I think it's totally a new journey for me and my mom and something that we've never experienced or done before. So it's going to be super interesting getting to share little bits of our life and our mind to everyone else.
And for fans that haven't had a chance to check it out yet, what kind of topics are you going to be covering on the podcast?
So the first episode that we ever released is about pretty much my upbringing. So like my mom getting pregnant and then kind of just going through the motions of like elementary school, middle school, high school, etc. kind of after that, and just really navigating my life. And then topics to look forward to are like dating now versus dating then, rejection, social media, just handling, the problems of that and the ups and the downs. And then kind of just like getting all into topics that may or may not be like uncomfortable, but also like super fun to talk about and kind of getting a double perspective on.
And was having your own podcast something that you always knew that you wanted, or was this just something new that you wanted to try out?
I've always loved to have like conversations and talk and kind of express my thoughts and just give people advice. And I think all my life, my friends have always asked me for advice. And I think the podcast was a perfect way to kind of be able to give people an inside look at my mind. And now that I can do with my mom is like even better. So it's going to be really exciting to kind of dig deeper into my thoughts and share that with everyone. And I am really glad I did it with my Spotify family.
And speaking of your mom, did you always know that you wanted to work on something like this with her? You guys seem like you have a really close bond.
Yeah, my mom and I are super close. It wasn't always that way. We definitely had our ups and downs as a mother and daughter duo. But I will say that, even from a past standpoint, I've always wanted to have my mom involved in my life for as long as I could. And I think with the podcast, it's the perfect opportunity to conversate with my mom very often and kind of just stay close.
Will you be having any guests on the podcast, or who would you think would be your dream guest to have?
Yeah, we're definitely working on having guests on the podcast. We have a super special one that I'm not going to talk about yet, but it'll be really exciting. And then I think for future guests, it'll probably just hopefully be guests and like maybe their moms or, getting like the mother-daughter or mother-son type thing. But if not, it'll be super fun just to have guests and get other people's input.
A lot of fans are already super into the podcast. They love your journey. They love following everything you do. What's it been like getting that feedback already, even though that the podcast recently dropped?
It's amazing. I think it's so exciting to see that so many people are so happy about it and watching it and listening. And when we dropped our first episode on Twitter, I was like looking at the hashtag and so many people were so kind about it and just super excited to hear more. So it's going to be a really fun thing to kind of just look at and really get people's feedback on, because in the end, this is all for my supporters and people that want to listen to me. So I try to take all their suggestions and all their questions and comments and everything and really just try to make the podcast the best it can be.
And I've read that your family is super supportive of your pursuit of being an influencer, and they've always had your back. What does it mean to you to have that kind of support from your family?
It really means everything. I think, in the end, at the end of the day, your family is really the people that are always going to be there and looking out for you and trying to get you to be your best. So having my family's support and something that I've always loved to do and kind of just something I've always had fun with. And I think it's so funny even being called like an influencer, because it's just something I never really planned on, but then it kind of just happened and I've loved every second of it. So having my parents having my back the entire time has been amazing.
And when you first started TikTok, did you ever think it was going to blow up into being as big as it is now?
No, I really didn't. As you can tell from my first video, I obviously was just doing it for fun. I had no idea what would come out of it. And I am forever grateful for TikTok for getting me where I am. And I honestly could have never planned this out or expected it. It just happened so amazingly. And here I am.
And what are some of your top TikTok tips? I know that it's really been blowing up, especially with the pandemic. A lot of new people are getting into it. So what's some advice you give people who are just starting out on the platform?
I would say be yourself, bring something new. If you have an interesting talent or something that's really different about you that you want people to see, for sure use that to your advantage, just to stand out. And I think just be confident. Don't be afraid to post whatever you want and have fun with it. And I think at the end of the day, if you're being yourself, and you'll acquire people from being yourself, that'll make it so much more fulfilling in the end. So never lose sight of like who you are, because in the end, you want to continue doing that.
And I've seen that you have some A-list friends on TikTok. Did you ever think you'd be posting videos with Kourtney Kardashian when you started off?
No, I never would have ever guessed that in my entire life. But she's such an amazing person, and I look up to her so much. So it is really cool to be able to teach her a TikTok dance every now and then.
And I know you had mentioned earlier that you might be wanting like mother-daughter, mother-son duos. Would you ever want Kourtney to come on your podcast?
I mean, that would definitely be awesome. I'm sure there's conversations maybe that'll be had, but who knows?
And last question, can you tell us a little bit about your merch? I just saw you posted that you have a new drop on Instagram.
Yeah, so I just dropped three items actually. So 2 hoodies and a phone case, and they're kind of like a limited drop, but who knows? Maybe if they perform well, we'll have them back for everybody.